Good morning and welcome back to the farm. It's early and it's wet, which is the time that was recommended to me if I needed to mow around my beehives. And after yesterday, I realized I need at least a path up there. So I got that path done, sort of. And I started the path out to the orchard. But I think this grass is so tall, it's tangled around the mower blades, so now it won't engage. So I've got to let everything dry out, and I may have to take the mower deck down and take the blades off to get everything out that's collected around it. But it's a start. The garden looks beautiful. We got rain yesterday, and since everything's damp, I think I'm gonna try and work on digging the shed path out in the garden today. I'm gonna keep my expectations low because yesterday took a lot out of me. And maybe I'll put hay around these potatoes. I can't believe, you see? Look at how tall they've gotten already. You wouldn't know I covered them up almost to the tops the other day. So hopefully that's a sign I'm going to get a good potato crop. Hello, Ms. Molly. All right, I'm going to take a look at these bees, see how they're doing this morning, and get in and get some breakfast. I decided rather than do any digging, because I'm pretty low energy right now, instead I would run to Kudix and get the stuff that I needed to set up the new hive. Unfortunately, the one piece I really kind of needed, the top lids, they're out of stock on. So they're getting them in on Monday, and I'll try and get over next week to pick those up. But in the meantime, they said just put a piece of plywood or something on top of it. And I think I've got a sheet, I don't remember where I put it, probably in the basement for a project that I wanted to do that I can put on top. So, although it's 4 feet by 4 feet, it's kind of big. I'll figure something I can put on top of it, because I don't want to leave it exposed. Because I'll have the inner cover in, but I'm going to have the feeders in there. And that's going to just attract things like ants and wasps and yellow jackets. And I don't want them messing with the hive while it's trying to get established. So let's get this stuff back and try and get that hive set up. So Steve suggested moving the box over to where they're going to be permanently set up. But to wait until all of the foragers were back in the box. Now, when I looked at the box this morning, it was very quiet and I didn't see much activity. Ooh, hello. So I thought I'd just come over here and take a peek at it tonight. And there's no movement. And I knocked on the side of the box and there's no sound. I think they're gone. But I'm gonna open the top of the box up and just take a quick peek. Yep, they're gone. Nope, they're gone. Well, that's frustrating. they're obviously gone. The bees that I'm seeing around it are just opportunists who are clean up the sugar water that I'd put on the foundation to try and convince them to stay. But, oh well, you win some, you lose some. At least now I have a lot more of the equipment that I need if the other hive decides to do that and I'm able to catch that swarm. Or if I have the opportunity to catch another swarm at some point. So, well, that makes my day tomorrow a lot easier. But I'm going to wrap it up here and get these cats inside. Thanks for coming along. Tomorrow's going to be an adventure day. I am going, at the very least, I'm going to the Strawberry Festival in Worcester. Because I want strawberry jam, dang it. And hopefully they'll have strawberries available for sale so I can make my own. Good morning. It's a beautiful morning. Not too hot, not too cold. And the sun is not shining on the part of the garden that I need to work on. So I'm going to work on that part of the garden. end of the dirt digging in the garden. The other side, I'm not gonna dig. I'm just gonna kind of level it out and heavily cardboard and mulch it. But because I was gonna be coming and going so much on this side to get to the greenhouse door, I wanted to make sure that the path there was flat and solid. I piled the dirt all up here because my intention is for it to go along the edge of the bridge to make the access onto it a little smoother. So I'm still waiting for Devin to get back to me. I haven't heard anything from him in a week, so we'll see what's going to happen with that. But it's 8:30. The deer flies are out, and I don't want to fight with them. So I'm going to get cleaned up, and I'm going to the Strawberry Festival. So I got back from the Strawberry Festival, which was a great yard sale, community yard sale day. They had a bit of a craft fair and a chicken barbecue, but at 10:30 it was too early in the morning for a chicken barbecue. But on my drive out there, I did find that there's a strawberry farm apparently just up the road from me. So I'm going to go check that out and see if I can actually get some strawberries. So I got the last 5 quarts of strawberries that this Amish farm had at their farm stand. So I am going to turn all of this into jam, because strawberry jam is one of my 2 favorite jams, and it's the quickest way to process all of these. Now I am going to keep trying to go back there because I would love to put maybe a dozen quarts of strawberries in the freezer, but we got to start with jam because that's what I'm going to use. So let me get these hulled and cleaned and we'll start cooking them down. This is what I get for not reading the instructions ahead. I wasn't supposed to put sugar in yet. So you're supposed to set the sugar aside with the pectin in it and bring the fruit to a full boil and then add the sugar and the pectin. I didn't do that. and I'm not going to throw all of these strawberries out. So we're just going to heat this through and add the pectin and hope it works out. And I've got at least one more batch to go, so I'll do it right the second time. I don't double batch. I find that it doesn't set up well when I do that, so I would rather do 2 separate batches. So I'm gonna start heating this up and work on the second batch of strawberries, and we'll just keep on keeping on. All right, so the correct sequence for this is you put your fruit in, you mash it up, you add the pectin, you bring that to a rolling boil, then you add your sugar, bring it back to a rolling boil, and then let it boil for 1 minute, and then take it off the heat, jar it, can it. I did everything backwards. So, and I suspect part of the reason to do it that way is my fruit is very chunky, which I like. I prefer it that way, but it separates. So the chunks are all at the top, and then the bottom is just strawberry jelly, which is fine. Strawberry jelly is delicious. But I suspect that if you do it this way, the fruit will stay suspended better. So we'll test that out and find out. So I've got the second batch in, softening up. And I may mash it again one more time. The first batch is in the canner. I don't have a water bath canner, and you don't really need a water bath canner unless, no, you don't really need a water bath canner. What I would really like is a steam canner. But in the meantime, any pod that's big enough to hold your jars will work just fine. This is my big pressure canner, and I just filled it with water up to over to where it would cover the pint jars and dropped them in. I've got the bottom, the lifted, elevated bottom that goes in, so they're not sitting right on the heat source. Because if you do that, the jars can shatter, and you don't want that. So I'm gonna finish this batch. I've got 3 minutes left for this batch to come out of the canner, and then I'll get these jarred up, and I've got all the little leftovers going in this jar, and this is going to go right into the fridge so I can start eating this right away. All right. So that wasn't too bad. 2.5 hours of work. As you can see, I think I was right. And the difference between the batch that I cooked the way you're supposed to and the batch that I did the way I thought you were supposed to is significantly different. And I'm not even sure if this is going to set up properly. If not, I guess I've got some nice strawberry sauce that'll make nice strawberry shortcake in the middle of the winter. But it's a start. I think I want to do at least one more batch for me, and I want to do one batch for gifts. So that's another 4 quarts or so. Maybe 6. If I do 2 batches of gift jam and one more batch for me, that should give me enough to get through the winter, I would think. I think I go through a jar of strawberry jam about 1 every 2 months. And that's the kind of math you have to start doing when you're thinking about A, planting your garden, B, thinking about preserving, is figuring out how much you actually eat in a year and how much of that can you preserve. I had a number of people, when I told them how many onions I was planting, absolutely shocked. And then I had them walk through the math of, okay, how many onions do you use in a year? Even if you only use 1 onion a week, that's 52 onions. Nobody uses 1 onion a week. Most people use 1 onion a day, so that's 365 onions. I didn't plant 365 onions. But like I said, I think if I have at least 8 pints of strawberry jam for me, I'm also gonna do this at blueberry season. There's a blueberry farm just up the road here, so I'll get plenty of blueberries there. I've got a ton of blackberries coming out behind the run-in shed, so I'll definitely have blackberries. It doesn't look like the raspberries are going to do anything. They didn't really set flowers this year, but that's to be expected since I just dug them up and moved them. They're kind of in shock and they need to reestablish their roots. So that'll be a next year windfall. And I'm not a huge raspberry fan anyways. I prefer blackberries. But so preserving season has begun, and strawberries are one of my favorites, so I'm glad to have them. I need to cook dinner, and I have just spent 2.5 hours in the kitchen, so I really don't want to cook dinner. So I think I'm going to go out on the mower and see if I can get any closer to the orchard. That was a workout. Sorry I didn't share any of it with you. My camera wasn't working right. So I made it out to the orchard, and I found 4 of the 6 trees, not counting the red buds. I haven't found any of the red buds yet. So I think I'm gonna have to go back out there. I want to give the grass that I cut a chance to stand back up so I can clean it up again. And then go out with the weed whacker and find the trees, clean up around them, and then make inroads into them. Once I get those all located, then I'm gonna get my tractor guy, the guy who plowed the garden, to come back. He said he can do bush hogging, so I'll get him to bush hog all of that, and then I should be able, well, I can't maintain the whole thing, but at least I should be able to keep the orchard clean, and my paths to the bees, and I'd like to get the edge of the pond cleaned up, things like that. But, and the other thing, I scared a poor little fawn who was sleeping in the tall grass. I was coming buzzing along, and all of a sudden he darted out of the grass and up into the woods. So that was, I felt bad about that. But I think that's going to do it for today. I think there's something going on tomorrow, but I can't for the life of me remember what it is, so it must not have been that important. So definitely come back tomorrow and see what we get up to. Take care, everybody.